Omar slumped into his seat with a sigh of disappointment. Up to now, he had been confident that God would get them to the jungle village so they could encourage and teach the 5,000 Christians who were gathered there. The bus that had picked them up seemed to be making good time down the stony furrows of the jungle road until they reached a series of military roadblocks. The bus driver had been able to negotiate his way around several of them, but now, with hostile tribesmen waiting along the road to attack, the driver decided it was too dangerous. But there was still some hope. Omar was able to flag down a passing taxi, and the driver said he was willing to take him to the little jungle village. So off they went down the dusty trail. As they were rounding a sharp bend, the driver suddenly saw a group of natives trying to flag them down. But instead of slowing his pace, the driver quickly darted around them and then pressed on the gas. But Omar stopped him. "Those people were in trouble," he exclaimed. "Let's go back. I'm paying for this trip. Let me assume the risk and the expense." Reluctantly, the driver turned around. The tribal people were carrying a limp body. "Please, please, take our friend to the hospital," they pleaded. "He's extremely sick." Omar helped hoist the patient into the taxi while he told the driver that he would cover the extra cost of changing their route. Then he paused while the man lay stretched out on his lap in the back seat. "Can we stop so I can pray?" he asked. The sick man's two companions were about to protest when the man suddenly spoke up. "Please, please, stop to pray." Everyone fell silent as Omar knelt by the roadside and poured out his heart to God, asking him to heal the patient. It looked like a severe heart attack, and who knew if he would make it to the hospital or not. But after Omar said amen, the patient, who had been hovering on the edge of unconsciousness, suddenly sat up. He smiled and he shouted, "I'm cured! I know I'm healed! I know I am! I can feel it! Thank you so very much." Later, the doctors at the hospital confirmed this sudden healing. But that was only the beginning of surprises for Omar. The healed man pleaded for Omar to come and visit his home in the jungle. After Omar reached the man's home, he heard the whole story with the help of a translator. Several months before, this man, who was a tribal leader, had a dream where a shining man had told him that he would become terribly sick. But he was also told that this illness would give him an opportunity to learn about the true God. He was convinced that Omar had a great message for him. "You see, I'm the high priest of the high God, and the spiritual leader of our tribe of 100,000 people, and God has a special plan for us. Tell me, please, who do you worship?" "I worship Jesus," Omar replied. It's the same. Though we know him by our tribal name, that's who I saw in my dream," the tribal chief exclaimed excitedly. "Our tribe worships Jesus, and he has been speaking to us." Omar was stunned. "Don't you worship idols?" he asked. "No, we worship the one true God who you call Jesus." Omar said, "Don't you follow the religion of the rest of your countrymen?" "No, I'm telling you that for hundreds of years, our tribe has worshipped Jesus, and I am eager to hear what you, as a believer in Jesus, can teach me." As they talked, Omar learned that many more villagers besides this 100,000 also looked to this great leader for spiritual guidance. And now he was eagerly awaiting to hear the full gospel story from Omar. The miracle had turned into a much greater opportunity than Omar had ever expected. Now the chief and Omar stay in contact constantly, and the good news about Jesus, the true God, is spreading quickly among the tribes. About 18,000 people have already joined the church in that area, but there are still thousands more who need to be reached. Gospel Outreach is hoping to receive enough funds to start a missionary training center there soon, but the task still calls for more money and more volunteers. Please pray that God will keep pouring out His amazing power into this cause. To learn more about the work at Gospel Outreach, or to find out how you can support it, check out our website at www.goaim.org, or give us a call at 509-525-2951. Well, thanks for tuning in for this story. As always, we appreciate your views, subscriptions, and comments. Be sure to join us again next week for another Gospel Outreach mission story.